standing on the deck of a small boat. The water beneath you is dark. Somewhere below, a shape the size of a bus is moving. It has a brain nearly 4 times the size of yours. It hunts in coordinated groups. It kills great white sharks by flipping them upside down. It has been observed drowning blue whales, the largest animals that have ever existed on this planet. And it is watching you. You should be terrified, but you are not going to die today. In fact, in the entire recorded history of the ocean, no wild orca has ever killed a human. Not one confirmed case, ever. Read that again. The most intelligent predator in the sea, an animal that hunts in packs, communicates in dialects, teaches its young, and has 0 natural enemies, has decided, apparently as a species, that you are not food. And no one really knows why. Most people assume orcas simply do not eat humans because we are not part of their diet. That assumption is not wrong, but it is incomplete. The science says something stranger. Something that touches on culture, on memory, on the possibility that another mind on this planet has made a decision about our species that we did not fully earn. Here is where it gets interesting. Orcinus orca is not one animal. It is at least 10 distinct populations, possibly more, each with its own diet, language, hunting strategy, and social structure. Marine biologist John Ford of the Pacific Biological Station in British Columbia has spent decades documenting what are called ecotypes. Resident orcas eat salmon and almost nothing else. Transient orcas, sometimes called Bigg's killer whales after biologist Michael Bigg, hunt marine mammals. Offshore orcas eat sharks. In Norway, some pods specialize in herring. In Argentina, one pod intentionally beaches itself to grab sea lions off the sand and then wriggles back into the surf. Each group has traditions. Each group teaches those traditions to its calves. None of them, anywhere, teaches its calves to eat humans. Think about how strange that is. If a large land predator like a lion or a tiger encounters a human alone, unarmed, and vulnerable, the outcome is often fatal. Bears kill people. Wolves have killed people. Even domestic dogs kill people. Orcas have been swimming beside surfers, kayakers, and divers for as long as records have been kept, and the death toll is 0. But here is the strange part. Orcas are more than capable of killing us. In captivity, the picture changes completely. At least 4 humans have been killed by captive orcas. The most famous case is Tilikum, a male orca held for decades at various marine parks, who was involved in the deaths of 3 people. Neuroscientist Lori Marino, one of the leading researchers on cetacean intelligence, has argued that captivity produces a kind of psychological breakdown in these animals. Their pods are stripped away. Their natural behaviors are impossible. Their communication is muted. And under that pressure, some of them lash out. But in the open ocean, the behavior is different, radically different. Orcas have bumped kayaks. They have circled swimmers. In 2020, a strange series of encounters began off the Iberian coast near Portugal and Spain, where a small group of orcas started ramming sailboats, damaging rudders, sometimes sinking the vessels. Marine biologist Alfredo Lopez Fernandez of the Atlantic Orca Working Group has been tracking these incidents. Not a single human has been hurt. The boats are targeted. The humans apparently are not. That distinction matters because it suggests something almost no other predator seems to have: restraint. An orca that chooses to damage a boat while ignoring the person clinging to it is making a choice. A conscious, deliberate, targeted choice. Here is where the science becomes harder to explain. Orcas have the second largest brain of any animal on Earth, second only to the sperm whale. But size is not the whole story. The structure of the orca brain is unusual. It has an enlarged limbic system, the region associated with emotion, social bonding, and memory. Neuroscientist Lori Marino and her colleagues have described the orca brain as showing signs of higher-order social cognition that in some ways exceeds our own. They form lifelong family bonds. They mourn their dead. In 2018, a female orca named Tahlequah, part of the endangered southern resident population, carried her dead calf on her head for 17 days, over more than 1,000 miles of ocean. Researchers described it cautiously as grief. An animal that grieves is an animal with a self. An animal with a self is an animal that can make decisions about other selves. And this is where the deeper question begins. If orcas can decide who is prey and who is not, what have they decided about us? The answer may lie in something called cultural transmission. In wild orca populations, calves stay with their mothers for their entire lives, sons especially. Male orcas in resident pods often die within a year of their mother's death. The pod is not just a family, it is a school. Everything the calf learns about the world, what to eat, how to hunt, which sounds to make, who to trust, comes from watching the adults. If no orca in living memory has ever killed a human, then no calf has ever learned that humans are food. And because orca culture is remarkably conservative, the tradition of avoidance would perpetuate itself, not out of instinct, out of learning. But that raises another question. Why did the tradition begin? Marine biologist Hal Whitehead of Dalhousie University, who has studied cetacean culture for decades, has suggested that orcas may have encountered humans early, at close range, and made an assessment. Not of whether we could be eaten, but of whether we should be. Some researchers have gone further. They have pointed out that in nearly every indigenous coastal culture that lived alongside orcas, from the Nuu-chah-nulth in the Pacific Northwest to the Ainu in Japan to the Maori in New Zealand, there are stories of cooperation, of orcas driving fish toward waiting fishermen, of orcas rescuing swimmers, of a mutual, wary respect. In Twofold Bay, Australia, throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, a pod of orcas led by a male, the whalers called Old Tom, actually helped human whalers hunt baleen whales. The orcas would drive a whale into the bay, alert the humans by slapping the water, and share in the kill. The bones of Old Tom are still on display at the Eden Killer Whale Museum. His teeth show wear marks from pulling on ropes. This is not the behavior of an animal that sees humans as prey. This is the behavior of an animal that sees humans as something else. Perhaps allies. Perhaps something more like peers. But that is not the strangest part. The strangest part is what happens when you look at the fossil record. Orcas, as we know them, have been around for at least 5 to 6 million years. Modern humans have existed for roughly 300,000, which means for the vast majority of orca history, we were not here. And for the first 290,000 years of our existence, we were not in the ocean in any meaningful way. Orcas evolved their intelligence, their culture, their hunting strategies entirely without us. And then we arrived, in boats, in small numbers at first, then more, then everywhere. The orcas watched. At some point, in some pod, somewhere, an orca made a decision that other orcas copied. That decision is now propagated through generations, across every ocean, across every ecotype. It is not universal instinct. It is cultural knowledge. It is the closest thing the animal kingdom has ever produced to a treaty, and we did nothing to deserve it. Here is what makes this uncomfortable. Humans have not been kind to orcas. In the mid-20th century, orcas were shot on sight by fishermen who considered them competitors. The United States Navy used them for target practice. In the 1960s and 1970s, capture teams in the Pacific Northwest netted entire pods, killed the mothers who tried to protect their calves, and shipped the young to marine parks around the world. Some pods have never fully recovered, and yet the orcas did not decide to hunt us in return. Marine biologist Naomi Rose of the Animal Welfare Institute has spent her career studying orca behavior and welfare. She has said, in effect, that if any wild animal on Earth had reason to strike back against humans, it would be the orca. And the fact that they have not is one of the great unanswered questions in animal behavior. There is a deeper implication here, and it is unsettling. The reason large predators kill humans is usually simple. We are made of meat. We are slow. We are weak in the water. We look to a hungry animal like an easy target. Orcas do not agree with that assessment, which means either they know something we do not, or they have chosen something we have not. Both possibilities change the way you have to think about the animal kingdom. For most of human history, we have described intelligence as a scale, with our species at the top and everything else somewhere below. That framework is now falling apart. Animals like orcas, dolphins, elephants, corvids, and octopuses appear to possess forms of cognition that we simply do not have language for. They are not less intelligent than us. They are differently intelligent. And in some cases, they are making moral decisions that our species has not consistently been able to make. Think about it. There is an animal in the ocean, powerful enough to kill us in seconds, smart enough to know how, teaching its children to leave us alone. We do not do the same for them. The final piece of this story is the one that is easiest to miss. In the last 10 years, sightings of orcas near human boats have increased. Some researchers believe the animals are curious. Others believe they are frustrated. Others believe they are testing us. The Iberian orcas that keep ramming sailboats are, notably, a critically endangered subpopulation. There are fewer than 40 of them left. Marine biologist Renaud de Stephanis has suggested that after years of tolerance, they may finally be reacting to the pressure they have been under. If that is true, we may be watching a treaty renegotiated in real time. Every generation of orcas inherits its culture from the generation before. If a new tradition takes hold of viewing human boats not as neutral objects but as threats, that tradition could propagate. Not immediately, but steadily. Culture in orcas moves the way it moves in humans, slowly then suddenly. We should not test it, because right now, out there in the deep water, there is a species that has decided, apparently on its own, to spare us. A species that could easily choose otherwise. A species that has been watching us for as long as we have been sailing, and has kept its part of an agreement we did not know we had made. Somewhere off a coast tonight, in dark water, a pod of orcas is moving in coordinated silence. They are hunting salmon, or seal, or shark. They are teaching their calves what to eat and what to leave alone. Somewhere in the lessons they pass down, in the songs they sing to each other across kilometers of ocean, is the quiet, unstated agreement. Not this one. Not the humans. They have decided who we are. We have not yet decided who they are. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, subscribe for more videos like it. See you in the next one.